top 8 reasons 90s mountain bikes are still awesome. And these are in no particular order, random order, but here we go. Reason number 1, they are cheap. This is one of my favorite reasons because, like for instance, this 1994 GT Timberline, very cool bike. I love this bike. I only paid, I think, $35 or $45 and it was in riding condition. Definitely needed some work, but you could ride it as it was. They can be expensive, but the amount of them that are expensive are very few. It's like those 1% that are highly collectible and desirable and all that. But all the rest of them, all the other 99%, if you spend a little bit of time on Facebook Marketplace, you can find them for like under $75 easily. $50 to $75 seems to be the sweet spot to me, where you can get a functional, all-together vintage 90s mountain bike. Cheap to work on, cheap to buy. The parts are cheap. Everything on here inexpensive. Even the tires aren't very expensive on these 90s mountain bikes because they're 26ers. So if you're going to get into biking for the first time, you can't beat the 90s mountain bikes for the price of entry. Very low cost components can be had for these bikes. That doesn't mean all the components are cheap. You can buy high-end vintage 90s parts. I don't think I've ever done that, but you can do that too. But my point is you can also find a lot of low-cost parts for these bikes. Reason number 2 kind of ties in with reason number 1. The reason number 2 is they're great beginners bikes. So actually that's how I began, and maybe I'm a bit partial to it. My first bike as an adult was a 1997 Giant ATX 840. Just a straight run-of-the-mill 90s mountain bike. Had coil forks, a 3x drivetrain, 3x7 drivetrain, really standard. But it was a great entry. I had so much fun with that bike. I rode it places you probably wouldn't even normally ride such an old mountain bike, but I had a lot of fun, learned a ton, and it gave me the time to meet people and get into the sport, for lack of a better word, and learn all the facets of it, or at least begin to learn the facets of it, while I didn't throw a bunch of money away going in the wrong direction. You know, so it was for me a great entry point into the activity, a low cost. I paid $70, 70 Swiss francs, but $70 for that bike. It's one of the best ways to enter the activity of cycling. It doesn't have to be sport either. You can have a 90s mountain bike for commuting. They're great commuters. So they're just kind of like a low cost, low risk, all around entry point into the activity / sport of cycling. Reason number 3 is they are actually good mountain bikes still. I was listening to a podcast with Russ from Path Less Pedaled, who I love, and I'm sorry I forgot the guy's name, but from the Soma Bike Factory. He's, I don't know, the founder, the owner, or a worker, or whatever, but he has a YouTube channel I also really enjoy. I watch most of his videos. But they were on a podcast and they're actually saying, I might be remembering it wrong, but what I remember them saying was, the one thing that they're not good at is being a mountain bike, and I couldn't disagree more with them on that. Now, I think I know where they're coming from. 90s mountain bikes aren't going to do modern mountain biking, what most people think about modern mountain biking, in a great way. They're not going to do big features, big jumps, big ramps, big all that stuff, gaps, you know, really technical, extreme downhill stuff. No, not at all. But they are actually great mountain bikes because, believe it or not, that type of modern mountain biking is actually a small subset of, to me, in my mind, of all mountain biking. Mountain biking is just riding your bike on a mountain or similarly rough terrain. These bikes do really good on mountainous off-road terrain, and that's what I did. I started off with my 1997 Giant in the local mountains where I lived at the time in Switzerland. And they were not mountain bike parks, they were hiking trails and just kind of random off-road trails, and that bike was perfect for that. And it did have the 3x, which was really good, which means you have a very low gear. I probably had a 24 tooth front cog and maybe a 32 in the back. I eventually started modifying it a lot, but it gives you a lot of gears. They're extremely rugged. It's not that you can't do nothing. I did go off drops and stuff. Small drops, talking, you know, a foot or a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet. But, you know, they're good at off-roading. They're good at being on mountains. It's just they're not good at the new park. I should have said that before. Park mountain biking, mountain bike parks. Mountain bike parks are only a little bit of mountain biking. Certain parks you may not want to bring your 90s mountain bike to. Although I will say a lot of mountain bike parks aren't that intimidating or that gnarly, and you could bring your 90s mountain bike to. In fact, the one I go to most of the time, one of my friends and I, he has like a Gary Fisher, like a 90s Gary Fisher. It seems like he refuses to get rid of it, and he always rides it at that park, and it's fine. It's a pretty tame park, and it's totally fine. So these actually are really good mountain bikes even still today. It's just you don't want to go on some crazy advanced features on them, that's all. I lost count how many we were on. I'll put it up here somewhere. But my next point is these are great platforms. So the thing is yes, they're a 90s mountain bike. They're made for mountain biking, but you can do so much more with these. You can make them a cruiser. That's the popular thing. And I think that's why maybe people are getting, some people who are in the scene, kind of like super into mountain biking like Russ and the other guy, they're kind of getting sick of all the 90s mountain bike stuff. So I can understand that. But and the thing is, I'm trying to say about it is a lot of people make like cruisers with them and this and that, and yes, they're not the best cruisers, yes, they're not today's best mountain bikes, and they're not the best gravel bikes, but you can still do all that stuff, and they're still good at that stuff. So you can make these commuters. A lot of people will put fenders on them, put smoother tires, you know, put some swept back handlebars to make them more comfortable. You can also make them gravel bikes. You can put drop bars on them. You can do just about anything with these. In fact, it is my most popular video is 1990s mountain bike to road bike conversion. I converted my 1997 Giant to a road bike. Now that wasn't that easy because the diameter of the wheels between mountain bikes and road bikes, but I did do it. And my point is these are great platforms because they're so plentiful and so cheap, and you're not afraid to kind of mess up. If you make a mistake on these, it's no big deal. The worst you're out is, well, $45, like if you were to damage the frame, but frankly you would still have all the parts anyway, so you're not even out that much. So these are great platforms, you know, not a big deal, very unintimidating to modify to make it a platform to be anything you want the bike to be. The next top reason 90s mountain bikes are still awesome is because they're very durable, very rugged. That's how they were made back in the day. They were made to just be thrown around in the woods, whatever, and I know you can break them, but I've never broke a 90s mountain bike frame, and I've had a dozen by now probably, and this one's the same. This particular one is made out of steel. It's a chromoly steel, a 4140, I believe, steel of some sort, and it's a very rugged frame. It's going to be very difficult to break this. Also, the wheels are pretty rugged because they're 26. They're not as big as the 29s, so these are very like strong wheels. Typically they're overbuilt, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. These 90s mountain bikes are typically quite overbuilt, which is great for new riders because, you know, as a new rider you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you might damage the bike, but these are quite resilient and it's difficult to really destroy a 90s mountain bike, although you can, of course. It does happen, but you know, again, going back to the price, if you do damage or destroy your 90s mountain bike, you're probably not out a lot of money. But these are quite rugged. They take a lot of abuse, and that's why they're still around today. This is a 94, so this is 31 years old as the time I'm recording this, so this is a 31-year-old bike. A lot of these, I'm not against carbon fiber. I have one carbon fiber bike which I love, my GT. It's also a GT, my GT grade. But will it be around in 31 years like this one will be? I'm not so sure. And frankly, this one, it's been used and abused. It's pretty scratched up. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's still around in 30 more years. Will the carbon GT grade be around in 60 years? I don't think so, unless somebody takes extraordinarily good care of it. These are made to last is my point. They're rugged, they're robust, and they are gonna last, especially the steel versions. There are aluminum and typically just aluminum and steel 90s mountain bikes, and the steel are gonna be the most rugged and long lasting, although the aluminum lasts quite a long time too, but they're a little bit more prone to cracking, and when they do crack, they're much more expensive and difficult to repair. The next reason that 90s mountain bikes are still awesome is just because they look so cool, especially the GT with the triple triangle, as I've said before. But there's so many cool looking 90s mountain bikes. I love the look of the Peugeots. Now some of those are more like 80s, I guess. I love, of course, the Specialized. Everybody likes the Specialized. Even the Treks look pretty good. I mean, almost all 90s mountain bikes, except for like low-end junk, which there wasn't that many of, or at least it didn't last that long. They haven't lasted that long, but what you see now, 90s mountain bikes, usually look pretty cool. I just love the looks. Everybody loves the looks of the 90s mountain bikes. I mean, when you ride one of these, it's so often somebody is like, hey, cool bike, I like your bike. You know, it's crazy. And this is a $45 thing that I just put some cheapo parts on. I mean, I don't have $100 in this bike, I don't think. I still ride it a lot too. I ride it at the park, the mountain bike park sometimes. I ride it to the store with my daughter. I ride it, you know, wherever. It's not fast and efficient, so I don't go big distances on it really quickly or anything, but it's a fun bike just to ride around. And yeah, people like how it looks. People notice that it's a vintage bike, and I think it looks cool too. It's a very, very cool looking bike. Yeah, and that's the thing too, the 90s. Now this one is actually rather muted compared to some of the stuff back in the 90s. This one's just a tan with like some blue fonts here and stuff and blue text. But some of that 90s stuff is like really vibrant, which is very, very cool. So the next reason that 90s mountain bikes are still so awesome is because the size. In my opinion, even if the bike fits you, this bike fits me, I can take a 29er modern mountain bike that'll fit me, but this feels smaller, and that's because of the wheels. And so what I'm trying to say with that is these are very unintimidating bikes to ride, both for new people and even for me. If I jump on a new 29er, it's like, whoa, okay, this is a big bike, wide handlebars, big wheels. You get on this and it's like, yeah, this is small. I feel like I'm not gonna fall off this. I'm not gonna, you know, make a mistake. It just has to me, a feeling of funness, and just kind of, it's small, it's flickable, it's non-intimidating. It's just a smaller feeling machine, even if it fits you just the same as the big one fits you. And this is especially good for new riders to be able to sit on something that doesn't feel like they're way up here in the air with their arms all far out. And the last reason that 90s mountain bikes are awesome still today is because they're great for learning and doing tricks on. They're small, they're, like I said before, they feel a little bit smaller, but also if you knock this thing on the ground and you scuff things up, you don't worry about it too much. I'm not gonna wanna do that on my nice 29er. You know, I'm not gonna wanna learn to do manual where I might spin out, or a wheelie where I might flip it and drop the bike, or any kind of tricks like that on that bike. I go for this bike to learn those tricks. You know, track stand. This is actually where I learned, not this bike particularly, but a 90s mountain bike is where I learned to be so good with track standing. If I do say so myself, I'm a pretty good track stander. So 90s mountain bikes, great for learning tricks. If no other reason, that's why you should get one of these. So if you want to learn some techniques and tricks, get one of these. That way you don't bust up your expensive mountain bike. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.